Tonight, we examine a pivotal transformation underway in Canada's approach to energy, a story that's reshaping not just the nation's economy, but its place in the global market. For generations, Canada's vast oil sands and natural gas reserves have powered its economy, with the United States serving as the primary destination for these resources. The two countries built a tightly interwoven energy relationship, with pipelines and trade routes stretching across the border. But now, that long-standing partnership is facing unprecedented challenges. The U.S., once a steadfast customer, is no longer the reliable market it used to be. Shifting political winds, new domestic energy policies, and a growing focus on American energy independence have all contributed to a sense of instability. Recent years have seen the introduction of unpredictable tariffs and trade barriers, leaving Canadian producers uncertain about the future. These changes have sent shockwaves through boardrooms and government offices alike, forcing leaders to rethink their strategies. This isn't just a minor adjustment to policy, it's a fundamental strategic pivot. Canadian officials and industry leaders are now working together to chart a new course, one that will safeguard the nation's economic future and reduce its dependence on a single trading partner. The spotlight has shifted to Asia, where rapidly growing economies are hungry for energy to fuel their expansion. Countries like China, India, and South Korea represent massive new markets, offering opportunities for long-term growth and stability. To seize these opportunities, Canada is investing heavily in new infrastructure, building pipelines that cross the Rockies and constructing state-of-the-art LNG terminals on the Pacific coast. These projects are designed to open up direct access to Asian markets, fundamentally reorienting trade flows that have existed for decades. By diversifying its customer base, Canada aims to insulate itself from the unpredictable nature of U.S. politics and trade. This approach not only spreads risk, but also positions Canada as a key global energy supplier. The U.S. market, once a source of stability and profit, now appears less secure and less lucrative. In contrast, Asian economies are on the rise, with energy demand projected to grow for decades to come. Canada's new energy strategy is a proactive response to these shifting economic and political realities. By taking control of its own destiny, the country hopes to reduce vulnerability and ensure a prosperous future for its energy sector. The risks of relying on a single trading partner have become all too clear. Recent trade disputes and political disagreements have served as a wake-up call, highlighting the need for a more balanced and resilient approach. Canada's ambitious westward push is more than just a business decision, it's a bold vision for the future. By expanding into new markets and building the infrastructure to support them, Canada is laying the groundwork for long-term energy security and economic health. At the heart of Canada's westward strategy lies a project of immense ambition and national significance: the Trans Mountain Pipeline Expansion, or TMX. This pipeline isn't just a piece of infrastructure, it's a symbol of Canada's determination to secure its economic future and redefine its role on the world stage. TMX is designed to nearly triple the flow of oil from Alberta's vast oil sands all the way to the Pacific coast. By expanding this critical route, Canada can finally access lucrative export markets in Asia, where demand for energy continues to grow. This new capacity means Canadian oil will no longer be landlocked, but instead will travel thousands of kilometers to reach global buyers. Without TMX, the dream of a westward energy corridor remains just that, a dream. The pipeline is the missing link that transforms Canada's aspirations into reality, connecting resource-rich provinces to the world beyond North America. Yet, the journey to build TMX has been anything but smooth. The project has faced fierce opposition from environmental groups, indigenous communities, and local residents concerned about the risks. Regulatory delays and lengthy legal battles threaten to derail the expansion entirely. In a bold move, the Canadian government stepped in and purchased the pipeline in 2018, demonstrating its commitment to seeing the project through to completion. The strategic value of TMX cannot be overstated. By providing a direct route to the Pacific, the pipeline allows Canadian oil to bypass traditional bottlenecks in the United States. This means Canada is no longer solely dependent on its southern neighbor for energy exports, opening doors to new international partnerships and customers. For Canadian oil companies, this translates into higher revenues and greater market stability. With more buyers competing for Canadian oil, producers can command better prices, strengthening the entire industry. The benefits extend far beyond the oil patch. Increased revenues mean more tax dollars flowing into government coffers, supporting vital public services like schools, hospitals, and infrastructure projects that improve the lives of Canadians across the country. TMX is a concrete step toward true economic independence. It positions Canada as a serious player in the Asia-Pacific energy markets, forging new trade relationships and strengthening ties with some of the world's fastest-growing economies. But TMX is more than just steel in the ground. It represents a bold vision for Canada's future, a future where the country is not just a supplier to the U.S., but a global energy powerhouse with a direct gateway to the world. The pipeline marks a physical and economic shift away from reliance on the United States, giving Canada greater control over its own destiny and the ability to shape its own economic path. For Canada, the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion is more than a project. It's the key to unlocking the nation's full potential as a global energy leader, ensuring prosperity and opportunity for generations to come. The push west is about one thing: diversification. For decades, Canada's energy sector has relied heavily on a single customer, but now, the country is looking to broaden its horizons and reduce its vulnerability. Diversification isn't just a buzzword, it's a strategic necessity for long-term economic security. Over 95% of Canadian oil and gas exports go to the U.S., a risky dependence that leaves Canada exposed to the shifting tides of American policy and market demand. This over-reliance means that any change in U.S. regulations, tariffs, or political priorities can have immediate and significant impacts on Canadian producers and workers. Every U.S. trade dispute sends shockwaves through Canada's economy. Even a hint of tension or uncertainty can rattle markets, disrupt supply chains, and threaten jobs across the country. The stakes are high, and the need for alternative markets has never been clearer. By opening a Pacific export route, Canada can reach more buyers and get fairer prices for its oil. Access to global markets means Canadian energy can compete on the world stage, rather than being sold at a discount to a single buyer. This new route is a gateway to opportunity. Asian economies like China, India, and South Korea are growing fast and need stable energy supplies. Their rapid industrialization and expanding populations are driving up demand for reliable sources of oil and natural gas, making them ideal partners for Canadian exports. Canada aims to be a reliable, politically stable supplier for these markets. Our reputation for responsible resource management and strong regulatory standards makes us a trusted partner in a world where energy security is more important than ever. This isn't just about short-term sales, it's about forging long-term partnerships that benefit both sides. By building lasting relationships, Canada can ensure steady demand for its resources while helping Asian economies meet their growing energy needs. The logic is clear: reduce risk, increase revenue, and secure growth by supplying the world's most dynamic economies. Diversifying export markets strengthens Canada's economic resilience and positions the country as a key player in the global energy landscape. It's a plan to maximize Canada's resource potential for all its citizens. By expanding into Asia, Canada can create new jobs, support local communities, and ensure that the benefits of its natural resources are shared widely, now and for generations to come. Canada's energy pivot can't be understood without the backdrop of U.S. trade tensions. Aggressive American tariffs and unpredictable policies have shaken a once stable partnership. Tariffs on everything from steel to lumber have created friction and uncertainty. For Canada, over-reliance on the U.S. is now seen as a strategic vulnerability. The energy sector, as Canada's export cornerstone, became the focus for de-risking. Canada has responded by pursuing new trade agreements and building pipelines to the Pacific. The Asian market offers the biggest opportunity for diversification. Canada's westward move is a direct response to a shifting geopolitical landscape. It's a necessary step to safeguard national interests in an unpredictable world. U.S. tariff threats were the final push for Canada's strategic shift. President Trump's aggressive use of tariffs created deep uncertainty for Canadian industries. For energy, the risk of sudden tariffs made the U.S. market too unstable. The search for alternative markets became a necessity for survival and growth. Even talk of tariffs disrupts supply chains and investment. The Westward strategy is a calculated move to mitigate this risk. Real economic damage from trade tensions forced Canadian companies to rethink their plans. Massive investment in Pacific pipelines is Canada taking control of its destiny. By building new bridges to Asia, Canada is creating a more resilient economy. The economic case for sending energy west is strong, but the path is fraught with challenges at home. Projects like TMX face intense scrutiny from environmental groups, local communities, and indigenous peoples. Concerns about oil spills, climate change, and land rights have fueled protests and legal battles. The government must balance economic benefits with environmental protection and reconciliation. Achieving regulatory approval and social license is tough, but essential. Canada's energy future depends on resolving these internal conflicts. Canada's pivot to Asia will send ripples through the global energy market. A new supply of Canadian oil in the Pacific increases competition and could pressure prices. Asian nations gain more choice and leverage, reducing dependence on the Middle East. Canada offers reliability, a stable, democratic supplier in a volatile world. This move could complicate OPEC's efforts to manage prices. Canada's entry into the Pacific market rebalances global energy dynamics. It's a shift from regional supplier to global player. More liquidity and diversity in the oil market benefits consumers and energy security. Canada is helping create a more dynamic, competitive, international energy system. Canada's westward shift will have real consequences for the U.S. American refineries rely on Canadian heavy crude. A diversion to Asia could create shortages. Refineries may have to seek less reliable, more expensive sources, raising costs for consumers. The move highlights North America's deep energy integration. As Canada builds new relationships, the U.S. loses leverage as the dominant customer. The U.S. will have to compete for Canadian oil on the global market. Trade policies that pushed Canada to diversify may now hurt American energy security. In a global economy, actions to punish a partner can boomerang back. Canada stands at a pivotal moment, charting a new energy course. The pivot to Asia is a bold response to global trade uncertainty and U.S. tariffs. Anchored by TMX, the strategy connects Canada's resources with global growth engines. Success depends on balancing economic ambition with environmental and indigenous concerns. Overcoming domestic hurdles is as tough as any external trade barrier. This is a defining act of economic self-determination, building a resilient, diversified economy. Canada is taking decisive action to control its destiny and adapt to a new global era. The world is watching as Canada bets on its resources and a new path forward.